Hello, and welcome to We Will Talk About It, the Supernatural Rewatch podcast where we watch one episode every week, spoiler free. I'm Meghann, and this week we are talking about Season 2, Episode 13, Houses of the Holy. Can I tell you the first thing I thought when I realized we were watching this doing this episode and I was watching it? I was like, I bet this is a Sera Gamble episode.
Yeah,
I
I'm
bet
not gonna lie.
I can see her mischievous fingers all over this.
Yep, and when the credits started rolling
Mm-hmm.
at the very beginning of obviously letting us know who wrote this episode, I even thought, this feels very just the opening credits, hoping to see. I'm like, this feels very similar to the same scent.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? We were right.
Yeah. Is it about, faith? Is it about good versus evil? Is it about morality? Is it about the blurred lines of morality?
Mhm.
Oh, must be a Sera Gamble episode.
If you've answered yes to all these 5 questions, you have landed in Sera Gamble Land.
In Sera Gamble Land, which is not a bad place to be.
No, this episode's great. This is great.
This episode is so good.
Because we're in season, we're on episode 13.
Yes.
I was going to say 11. Don't know why. We're on episode 13.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting closer to some plots. We're starting to fill up some back from the earlier of the season. We're going to start getting some filler episodes. It's generally how these long seasons.
Yes.
Long seasons, it's on Netflix, 10 episode scenario where they're an hour plus episode. We're going to start seeing some filler. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a filler episode. It's not, but it is, but it's not.
It is, but it's not. And this is going to be an episode that's going to be very, very hard for us to talk about spoiler free.
Oh, yeah.
Because.
Oh, yeah. The amount of I did when I was watching this episode, I was like, yeah, I did a lot. I did a lot, and I did a lot. And I'm going to try my hardest without you having to stop me. So let's see. Challenge accepted, guys.
We can do this. We can totally do this.
We can.
So directed, written by Sera Gamble, directed by our boy Kim Manners.
And yeah, that's a good combo.
Yeah, it is a good combo. Definitely getting that really moody vibe from this episode.
It's a very bright episode.
Yes, very bright contrast, heavy contrast.
Very. Also, I'm not gonna lie. We will talk about it, but every time this a certain event happened, where there was a sign in the episode, all I kept thinking of was Mr. Burns' "I bring you love" every time, and in my head I'm just like lol 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 lol. And we'll talk about it. We're gonna talk about it because I was having my own little party there because you see it though, right? I'm
yes.
Not, you see it. It's like, I bring you love.
I bring you love.
Which does not happen in this episode.
No, it doesn't.
It's not a fun, campy Simpsons X-Files crossover. It's not that. It's definitely not that.
So we open on a woman who seems to be maybe a bit hard up in her life.
Yep.
She's watching TV.
The apartment is the stereotypical of the 2000s for any TV show. Trashy.
Yes.
It's grimy.
Yes.
It's got that grime feel. She's watching a TV that is like a box.
Yes.
So good.
And so she's kind of channel surfing. There's a televangelist on and she's like, ugh, turns it off. And then suddenly it's ooky spooky time and there's lights are flickering and all of that sort of stuff. And the televangelist comes back on and is
it gets more intense.
Yeah, it's very loud and it's preaching at her.
Very hardcore preach.
And then she sees a blinding light and says, "Oh my God," and then that's the end of the teaser. Yeah. It is a little bit X-Files, which is very obviously Kim Manners.
Yeah.
Of an alien encounter.
Yeah,
it's almost.
It's very bright, so whatever's appears to her in the doorway is very you can't see. There's a little bit of a dark figure. It doesn't go either way of what that could be, but the light is very blinding, very bright. And then we get where it looks like we're in a hospital.
Yeah, I think it's like a psychiatric hospital.
And then we see Sam in scrub whites, and he is very tan. He's got a fake tan on. And how do I know this? Because the white linen scrubs he is wearing contrasted with his skin color. I'm like, oh, sir, I know you. I've seen you in later seasons.
Yeah.
You are not that color. That is called a tan. It is the 2000s. He has just done House of Wax.
Yes.
He hung around Paris Hilton. I am saying the influence.
I was going to say he got influenced.
He got influenced by the tan.
What I was going to say is that I love the visual storytelling of the
Oh, yeah.
cold open to this scene.
Oh.
So we see Gloria's apartment. It's very run down.
Mhm.
There's a lot of implications.
Of
She's got beautiful like red nails. Like I'm not
she's
there's
in
some stereotyping going on. She's not looking her best physically. Her
yeah.
hair's a bit of a mess. Her makeup's a bit of a mess.
She's wearing a corset with the bra showing
She's smoking. She's drinking.
in a very tiny very tiny denim skirt.
Yes. And then in the immediately after the cold open,
Mm.
we see her, she's got her hair's combed, she seems calm, she seems pleasant, like she looks she looks happy.
She's reading a book.
She's reading the Bible,
Yes.
like
I was gonna say it, but I'm like, she's reading the Bible.
she's reading the Bible, and
She's all covered up as well. Like she's in a cardigan.
I think that that's because she's
she wears,
required
like
to wear in the
yeah,
hospital. I don't
but
think that they are like, wear whatever you like in a psychiatric ward.
no, but
Wear a
it's
mini skirt.
yeah, no, but it was very much it's that contrast. Like, yes, she's obviously in a facility for a
Mhm.
reason. We're going to talk about it in a second. But yeah, it's very much the night and day.
Victoria tells Sam
Mm.
about her experience,
Mhm.
that God sent her an angel that told her that she needed to uh, basically kill someone, and that person believed it, that they were evil down to
Their foundations.
their foundations. And it's all very strange because she seems very at peace with it. She's very calm about it, which is obviously why she's in a psychiatric hospital, because
And she even makes mention of, you probably think I'm Cocoa Banana Pants or
yes.
Cocoa Puff Banana Pants or something. I
Mhm.
was like, I love this.
Yes. And yeah, it's this kind of interesting open, this idea. We haven't really talked about angels
Nope.
or God
No.
or heaven
This is
much.
yeah, no, because
Outside of maybe Faith, which was also a Sarah Gamble episode. Are we seeing a pattern with
Are we seeing a theme? Maybe. Yeah, you're very right. Like it's
Oh yes. And so then we cut to Dean stuck in a motel room using the magic fingers.
yeah, with the magical fingers,
Mhm.
listening to music on his LG phone
Mhm.
because we've just come off the episode of.
Oh wait, they actually know what type of phone it is. The
Oh,
wiki
do they? Is it? I know it's
Yes.
an LG something.
It is a Verizon chocolate. It's yes, it is an LG.
Yeah.
But it's the chocolate
Oh,
one.
sure. I have no idea what that means.
It was a slider,
yeah, I knew it was
mobile and MP3 player hybrid.
great. Love that. But I also love that where they're staying is very like a porn set. Because we've got the magic finger vibrating bed.
Mhm.
We've got all these very interesting mud flap women kind of cut out everywhere. The picture above Dean's head is a lady, almost like a burlesque lady with like 3D on the boobs, and I was like, "What is this place?"
Well, I mean, it's pretty established that at a certain point, the motel rooms in Supernatural become very themed.
And very much like a character of its own. Like,
yeah,
like the music.
Jerry Wanick, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, who is the production designer and sort of head of production. He used it as an opportunity to sort of be creative, and he tried to theme them a lot of the times around the episode.
Yep.
In like sneaky ways. So I mean, we find out that Gloria was a sex worker, and so I think that that's part of the broader theme
and
that's
also,
going
Dean
on.
likes a bit of a dalliance.
Mhm.
So I'm feeling it. And yeah, so Dean wasn't present in after the cold opening because we've just come off the episode where he's wanted by the FBI from the bank robbery.
Yes. So we met Lance Hendrickson in the last episode, or Hendrickson. And yes, so he's been ordered to stay
off the radar.
And so going into a government facility, aka a psychiatric hospital, probably not a good idea right now.
So he stayed home or stayed back in the hotel, popping quarters into Magic Fingers and listening to some rock.
Yeah, listening to Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
So they talk about the man that she killed, called Carl Gully, and was basically he was like
a church-going fellow.
Yeah, look, I mean, honest to God, if you hear someone described as a pillar of the community, like, you run. And this guy sounds like a pillar of the community because all pillars of the community
Keep dark
are
secret.
creeps. It's the same way if you meet someone and they light up the room, that person's getting murdered. I'm sorry. Like, I don't light up anybody's room when I walk into it, and it is a good thing.
Am I gonna die?
Did people tell you that you light up a room?
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm a ghost.
It's been fun.
It's been fun. R.I.P. It's now the Meghann and Ghost show.
Yeah, it's a Meghann and Ghost Cat show.
Yep. Wow. Oh. Anyway. I don't want to die that way.
Well, now you know to be on extra special alert.
I mean,
because people describe you as lighting up a room when you come into it, which is what they always say. Oh, she lit up the room.
Fuck.
He lit up the room when he came in. He was the life of the party.
Shut up. I don't like today. Today's not great. I'm going to go home and...
No, we have to talk about this episode.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to talk about this episode.
Sorry, we'll do this. Back on the episode. Kat's had an existential crisis. It may say in the episode because it's a little bit funny for Meghann. But anyway, it's fine. It's fine.
But yeah, so they start talking about the fact that Gloria thinks that it was angels, and Dean's like, well, she's not the first person to kill in the name of religion, basically. But like, it's
shady comment. I mean, facts are facts.
Accurate.
America. I mean, facts are facts.
But angels is not something that seems very likely to Dean. Sam points out that there's more law on angels than on almost anything else.
Yeah, and some of the stuff that they hunt and have hunted and we've seen, people could never think of or dream of.
Yeah.
But it's real.
Yes. But then Dean points out that there's also tons of law on unicorns.
Yeah. That shoot rainbows out their ass, which I love so much. And then we find out that he doesn't believe that there is a god or there's angels or any of the higher power, teaser to Jesus kind of energy.
So we find out that, that Dean doesn't believe what he can't,
see.
What he can't see.
Or hasn't seen.
Or hasn't seen. And Sam says, we've seen things people couldn't dream about. And he's like, yeah, but we know all these hunters, we know all these people, and not one of them has ever seen an angel.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take a brief moment to scream in spoilers.
I know, right? I know. Me watching this, I'm just like, huh.
How dare you, Sera Gamble? How dare you? You and Kripke sat down and were like, and so Sam just kind of leaves it. Dean just kind of leaves it, but he's like, I need to get out of here. I need to do something. Let's go to Carl's house and, let's just see what we can see.
Yeah. So they drive to, and Carl is a librarian. Well, can't sell librarian today. Can't say librarian.
Librarian?
Pillar of the community, church-going fellow, loved by all.
Again, lights up a room.
Yeah. Hi. Hey, you knock that off. And yeah, so they go in, don't see anything. And with the sign, I love because Dean is just such a skeptic. He's just like, oh, the sign. And there's like a cutout, it's after Christmas. We're assuming it's after Christmas or near Christmas.
Yeah.
Because there's a Christmas angel that I'm like, is from the 80s. I'm like, I'm sorry, did you get this from, National Lampoon? It's very that energy. It's weird. And Dean's like, oh, there's your sign. Angels aren't real. And then Sam gets a clue. He almost goes Scooby-Doo on it.
She said he was, evil down to his foundations. So they go look into the cellar and they find a bunch of skeletons, a bunch of skeleton
because they find this. Oh, and I didn't like this. They found a fingernail.
Yeah,
I was like, oh no, that's gonna be me.
And subsequently, find out that the library that Carl worked at, 3 college-age girls had disappeared mysteriously in the last year where he worked. And in the meantime, we've seen this gentleman, this young man, whose name is Zach, who is having a very similar experience to Gloria.
We see he's an alcoholic. Town alcoholic.
Yes. So again, visual storytelling, because we don't get a lot of information, but we sort of get the implication that this is a troubled person. and
in the grimy apartment.
in a grimy apartment, and he also has a vision. He also sees what Gloria said was an angel, and we're sort of seeing that maybe that's what's happening.
Yep, an angel.
And then he goes and finds goes to someone's house and stabs them.
I love that he walks up, knocks on the door, and says, "Hi, I'm Zach."
Mm-hmm.
Shank in the stomach.
Yeah.
Which I was like, oh no. And in the interim, we see after the very stabby. I also love that they pan out and there's like a water fountain, like angel bird bath. And I was like, oh, okay, is that the sign? Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I did. I made a note a bit later on when there's like an angel. I'm like, oh, good, the weeping angels are here.
Yeah. Ugh, that's a good.
That's a
episode.
crossover I don't need.
Yeah, no one needs that.
I like this throughout this episode as well. The magic fingers is kind of like a bit of a levity moment.
Yeah, it's kind of like a release. Like it's kind of like a fun release
of Dean being addicted.
Yeah.
And Sam being like, you're too into this and I don't like it.
I am not going to support your habit.
Yeah, I'm not enabling your sick habit.
Yeah, that's the words he said. And Dean just been like, mate, I'm stuck in the bedroom and I got nothing else to do. Be glad it's just the bed. Like, in all honesty, he could be ordering, erotica on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
But he ain't.
No, he's just lying there getting a weird massage.
Yeah, which I don't know if I would enjoy.
No, I don't know.
Because the bed vibrates very violently, and I don't understand. We don't have, for context, in Australia, as someone who has definitely travelled and stayed in some very interesting establishments in her youth, didn't ever stay in a place that had a vibrating bed.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever seen such a thing.
Yeah, and we stayed in like some backwater like motels and stuff.
Yeah, which is where you would find such a thing.
Yeah, where you'd be like, oh, this was clearly bought off a porn site. And now it's a bed in the hotel/motel. So, yeah. No, definitely no. A lot of old beds, but not like vibrating beds.
Yeah. Which probably, I mean, trying to keep you as a child away from a bed that vibrates. Not in a creepy way, just in a like, please. My
parents had a water bed.
Yeah.
And that water bed burst. And I was not involved, even though I was blamed, but I wasn't involved. Because, yeah, I would run in to my parents' bedroom. Like, we had a very long hallway at this particular house. I would run from my bedroom at the front of the house. And I would run all the way to my parents at the end of the house. Fling open that door. You know what this 4-year-old was doing.
Oh, yeah.
Whoop-bam!
Waterbeds. Yeah, I know. Why?
Why? The 80s is the what?
80s and early 90s was such a like time for a waterbed.
We had a cat.
But they were so coveted. Like my cousins had a waterbed and it was just like the most amazing thing for someone to have a waterbed. Like,
yeah, it means that you were rich.
It meant you were rich because you could afford a waterbed. You could afford a bed that was made out of water. And it wasn't even water. It's like weird gelatinous liquid.
Yeah, because when it burst, it obviously flooded the bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like water because it smelt. And it's... Yeah.
I feel like it's the same stuff that's inside of like snow globes. Yeah,
because it doesn't evaporate.
Yeah.
And we were living in Townsville at the time.
Yeah.
Also, every time I did sleep on it, I got sick.
you got seasick.
I got seasick on a fucking waterbed because it does like it's not meant to like wibbly wobbly, but it's water. Water is not solid. It's not ice.
So stupid.
It's so stupid.
But yeah, so they go to the house of this new victim that they've discovered. They find out there's been another murder where Zach basically killed someone and then went and confessed to police and was like totally chill about it. So they go and to the house of the victim, whose name is Frank, and they're sort of like, again, he seems kind of law-abiding, boring person until Sam magically, don't know how Sam has such elaborate hacking.
It looked like he literally hit Alt F4.
Yeah.
And I was like, excuse me, that closes the program. What are you talking about? But anyway.
He manages to somehow magically hack into Frank's email. And we find out that Frank was... At first, Sam's like, whoa, there's so many emails from a woman named Jennifer. And then he's like, oh, she was 13 years old.
Yep.
Yikes. And they were meant to meet the day after he was murdered.
Yeah.
So Dean's like, hey, that's kind of weird. Like, it's so good. It's like good timing. And
Yeah.
like so unusual and like that's the spirits seem to be like some spirits are out for vengeance, but this one's like trying to do good.
Yeah.
Sounds like you mean like an avenging angel?
Angel? And
Mm-hmm.
lean in, and Dean's like, "Shut your face.
Mm-hmm.
Shut that down real quick."
So yeah, it's it's all very
Above board, very angel-esque, very
yeah.
angel-like.
And in fact, the church that they all attend is called Our Lady of the Angels.
Mm.
So
And I love that Dean's like, "Of course it is."
mhm.
He's like, "Of course it is."
Yeah.
So then we get the boys going to the church.
And they meet the priest who works there, Father Reynolds. They sort of have this conversation with him about these victims, these people that
Mm.
have died from his parish, and the fact that an angel seems to have made them do it or told them to
Mm.
do it. And
He calls him out. He's like, "Yeah, definitely. No, that's not how that works."
yeah.
So this is a man of faith saying angels, if they were angels, would not
Mhm.
be instructing these people who have are wayward, would not be asking them to commit murder.
He does sort of say that the idea of like the hallmark jewel with a
Mm.
halo and
The
a
light.
liar and all of that is also they're he says they're loving more than they're wrathful, but
Mm.
they were fierce. They were Michael was the sword of God,
Yep.
and so that they're not this touched by an angel
Yep.
kind of thing that we might think of when we think of angels, particularly in the Old Testament. They were
Yeah.
very
They were soldiers.
they were
They
soldiers.
were classed as God's soldiers.
Yeah. They also find out that one of the other priests, Father Gregory, passed away on the church. He was actually murdered. Someone was trying to steal
This
his
his
car.
car.
It was really tough. He didn't get a chance to administer last rites, which
Mm-hmm.
for non-Catholics
Hello.
is a prayer that you perform when someone is passing away that allows their soul to pass to heaven.
Right. Right. Yes.
So it's not it's not something that comes up as much in like devout Catholics. Yes, definitely, but it's part of the reason that you'd have a priest go to someone's deathbed. So
Mm-hmm.
if you ever heard of like priests being called to people's deathbed,
Yes.
that's why it's to perform last rites. And Father Reynolds sort of says like he's been praying his little heart out, praying his little Jesus-y heart out
Yep.
to
That Gregory's soul has gone to heaven.
soul has gone to heaven, and that like the violence and bloodshed that led to his death
Mm.
is ended. And so Dean is now starting to think that it's a vengeful spirit.
Yep.
They're all of these victims are in his church.
Mm.
He passed away violently
Yep.
without having the last rites performed.
Mm-hmm.
He's got this friend, the other father, praying for help, praying
Mm-hmm.
to have the end to the violence. And like
He
for
was a
anyone who it doesn't know or isn't aware of the rules of confession,
yeah.
anything that is said in a confession, they are not required to report, even if it is a crime.
Yep.
So even if the victims had confessed to being pedophiles or being murderers, priest is under on no obligation. And this might have changed. I'm not 100% sure, but I know for a very, very long time they were under no obligation to inform anyone because what was said in a confessional was sacrosanct and was not
Yep.
required to be discussed outside of that because they were talking to God through the priest,
Yeah.
essentially,
Like almost like
which
a
is
walkie-talkie.
wild to me.
Yeah.
And I say
Wild.
this as a former Catholic.
I say this as that's a bit of a cocoa banana.
Mhm.
That is some religious definitely talking overstate.
Oh, absolutely,
It
and
don't.
it's complete for me, and this is a hot take, but completely unacceptable,
Mm,
particularly when it comes to things like pedophilia or abuse. I
yeah.
mean, murder obviously as well, but, like,
There's
there's a lot of stuff that the
we are not
church
talking about it because that's not our podcast,
that's not our podcast, but
and we
I
will get
have
very angry.
feelings.
We have feelings.
But this is
Also,
also when we hear that Sam prays every day.
Dean is shooketh.
Yeah, Dean is really, like, shocked, and I'm confused. Because it's not like for me, and maybe this is a little different in
Mm,
America because it's a lot more, and I might be misinterpreting this, but like a bit more of a like religious society. Like
Well, yeah.
religion is
Well,
a lot more prevalent.
when you think about, and again, broad with what I know and what I've read and what I've seen and learned, is that the pilgrims were, it wasn't, they were Puritans.
Yeah.
So it is, from their history, there has at least been a big element is religion. Whereas for in Australia, we're a bit of a mix. We a little bit convict-y. Not saying that convicts didn't have religion, but we also didn't have the goal of finding Australia and founding Australia was not based on we our ancestors leaving their country
Due to religious
yeah,
persecution.
but I feel like obviously more so in America, it's on a bigger scale.
Yes.
The whole religious persecution. Let's leave. We're gonna go find new land.
Yeah, and so, but I don't know if we ever get this answered. I actually can't remember, but just the idea that at some point, because I don't think John would have raised him in religion.
I don't think they did. I think they were aware of what religion could do for demons and how to fight a demon, like holy water,
Yeah.
prayer, exorcist kind of style,
Yeah.
those things. But they were tools. But it wasn't we are Catholics, we are going to believe this.
Yeah, or Christian or whatever denomination.
Whatever it is.
So
yeah.
it sort of implies to me that at some point Sam picked religion up.
Yeah, I'm going to say he probably did it maybe when he went to college. I'm going to say that.
Okay.
That's my thoughts. I mean, I don't think we'd ever get it answered, but I'm
No.
thinking he did that because he knows what's out there. He's picked up religion because he knows there's stuff out there, but he also knows it's good because Sam is always about what we do
Finding
is
the
bad.
good.
Finding the good in every situation. So maybe for him, that's how he justifies it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. I'm not sure because I've always thought of religion as well as something that, yeah, so I don't know, maybe in high school, because I was just thinking like they moved around a lot, like they had a very disjointed childhood. So like what point
And I mean, makes
would
sense
he
for
have
college.
found really? Yeah, so maybe college.
Maybe in college, and not like, maybe he went to like a youth group maybe to make friends because he would have left what he
That's
knew.
true.
Would have left what he knew.
Do they have youth groups in college?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know much about youth groups because very different religion.
Yes,
Catholics
true.
don't have
sorry.
youth groups.
Sorry. Sorry, my apologies. Yeah, there's a lot of youth groups. And very much so, there's again, that culture in America where there is a lot of, and I learned this from Big Mouth. Thank you, Big Mouth. Shout out to the last season. There's a lot of youth groups that, yeah, obviously you can go to, and depending on what religion and domination and all that kind of thing, yeah. So that's my theory, is that he was maybe looking for friends, and he's obviously looking for the right good people. He's obviously going, I'm going to go to a Christian youth group. That, maybe there was a flyer at the campus.
I'm just going to let you keep building this story because I actually genuinely don't think we ever find out when and how Sam found
I don't
religion.
think we will.
So they decide to go check out Father Gregory's grave because they're pretty they're pretty sure that it's a like weird, misguided vengeful spirit.
Yeah.
In that he's avenging against the evil he saw in the world before he died. So rather than venging against the people who killed him.
Yeah, it's
so like misguided, but in a good way, in a confusing way.
He's like, he's being,
but then he's also sending people to
do
the murder, and then like being like, well, you're just going to go live in a psychiatric hospital. But maybe he thinks he's saving them because they seem to be troubled people.
I think he does. We can't plot twist it yet.
Yeah,
I think that's what he was kind of saying.
Yeah,
when this all happens. But yeah, it also seems very like he's acting like a selfless, vengeful spirit, because he's not really, like you say, he's not going after the people that killed him.
Yeah,
he
cleansing the community.
Yeah,
of evil.
It's weird, but it works. Great story, but it's just a bit kind of like, yeah, he's out, and you would think he's a priest, so of course he's not going to think about himself. He's going to think about the community.
Yeah. So they go and check out his grave, and Sam has a religious experience.
He sure does.
That
vibrating.
Well, I think it's meant to be kind of. I don't think it's meant to be like. I think it's meant to be kind of. Is it in his mind? Is it not in his mind?
And it is, because if that was the case, and it's a heavy stone, Dean would have come running back in going, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah. And so he sees this angel statue start to vibrate. We see the light exactly the same as we've seen for all of the people before. And Dean comes back and Sam's like on the floor, like he's collapsed. He's like, I saw an angel.
So
Like,
yeah,
I 100% saw an angel. Like, that's exactly
what this was.
what this was. And Dean is very skeptical. Dean's like, what pills have you been popping? Like, there's.
Don't be drinking the holy water,
Hmm.
it's not good for you.
Yeah. And he's like, no, this was an angel. And Dean's like, no, it's a spirit. You see what you want to see. That's what they do. Like,
Mhm.
it's not.
And then we look at the grave and
Hmm.
we find out it's can't remember what the ivy is, but it's drawn to gravesite.
Yeah. And so they're talking about the fact that Sam is like, no, I now have to
Mm.
go stop someone from doing something bad. He's like, not kill them, but I have to stop them. That's what
Yeah.
the angel has
Wants me
been
to do.
telling people,
Yeah.
that the Frank was going to go meet that 13-year-old girl.
Mm.
Like, and yes, he got stopped by being killed, but like, I don't have to kill them. And Dean is just like not coping.
No,
He
he's shutting down.
he's like, do you know who else used to pray? Mum used to pray.
Mhm.
She used to tell me every night that angels were watching over me.
So yeah, Mary often would pray and that the angels were looking after their
And
family
that was
and
the last thing she ever said to Dean
before she passed
before she was murdered by a demon.
violently with some
And
flames.
this thing, I'm going to read this verbatim
Mhm.
of what Dean says because I think it really captures something so crucial about Dean,
Yeah.
which is that he's saying this he's like, Mum used to pray. That's the last thing that she said to me was angels are watching over me. Like, she used to have that faith. And he said, well, what's to tell? She was wrong. There was nothing protecting her. There's no higher power. There's no God. I mean, it's just chaos and violence and random unpredictable evil that comes out of nowhere and rips you to shreds. You want me to believe in this stuff? I'm going to need some hard proof. You got any? And I think that this captures something so core to Dean and
Mm.
who Dean is.
Yeah, it's very much a foundation.
Yeah, of like he had his mother murdered basically in front of him when he was very small. And I think that that is something that can very profoundly affect people's ability to
Yeah.
believe in purpose or a
Power.
higher power
Yeah.
or even just that there is any meaning
Mm.
to anything. And he's saying that it's just chaos and violence and it's unpredictable. Like, you can't predict this.
Yeah.
The good doesn't outweigh the evil. Like, evil is it.
Yeah. It's a hard line. Like he's
Mhm.
up until a point he's believed it, and then when his mum has passed violently, like you said, pretty much in front of him.
Mm. Well, we don't really know
No.
because he was obviously like 4 when she died.
Yeah,
So,
he's
like, I
kind
don't
of
know if he was in religion. We don't really have enough story, but like, he's saying that she believed
a core memory has
as
been shattered.
yeah, and like that didn't save her. That didn't stop her from being
Yeah.
murdered.
Yeah. It's a good scene. I like the
Yes.
scene.
And then they see the wormwood, which is associated with the dead that are not
That's
at rest.
that's what. Yep.
And so they're like, I think that he's the one. Like, I think
Mhm.
it's him. He's a vengeful spirit. Even if his vengeance is not specifically normal, quote
Yeah,
unquote.
it's not vengeance, and it's vengeance in a way. So he's trying to do good. I don't know. 2 plus 2 does not equal 4 in this situation.
Yeah. And so he decides that we'll
Mhm.
summon Gregory's spirit. And because he's like, hey, this is the perk of the job is that we can know for sure. We know how to summon spirit. Let's do it. So
And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
yeah, but it's just interesting that he's like, we don't have to operate on faith. We can see what's concrete and what's real
Yeah, in a spirit world,
in a
which is
spirit
world
world,
where
but
there's
like,
nothing concrete. But yes,
he's like, no, we can find out for sure because we can go and we can ask his unresting spirit if that's who it is.
yeah.
And that way we can know for sure if it's an angel or not.
Hmm.
And just as they're leaving after getting their seance supplies, which include a SpongeBob
SpongeBob
placemat,
Love that
Sam sees a sign. He sees a bright light shining behind a
guy who's come
guy.
from the same convenience store.
Yeah. And it is interesting visually that Sam sees this bright light Dean doesn't see it. Like, it's not just a trick of the light. It's not just
Like a headlight.
a headlight or chance. Like, there is a big truck behind them that is shining light, but it's not this halo effect that Sam sees. So,
Mhm.
which is interesting.
Yeah, it is.
And so Dean is like, no, Sam, you're not going after that. If this is a vengeful spirit that's trying to make you kill someone, I will go follow this guy, find out what's going on. You go do the seance.
And he locks him out of the Impala.
Mm-hmm. And so Dean's following this guy. All seems normal. He gives, he goes to get a girl from presumably on a date.
They
Gives her flowers.
they
Like,
don't know each other. It's obviously a blind date.
yeah, or like they maybe don't know each other very well. So we've got that going on, and then we've got Sam at the grave
About to do a
seance. So Sam's trying to do this seance, and then Father Reynolds comes and is like, "What are you talking about? Why are you doing a seance?" And he's like, "Well, it's based on early Christian rites, if that helps at all." And he's like, "Sir, it does not. Like,
You're
what
in
are
my
you talking?"
church. Get out.
Yeah, like this is not a place for spirit talk, which
Yeah.
is very accurate. That's not
Mhm.
something that is allowed or accepted in the church.
Mhm. Very cool.
Communing with spirits, it was a source of a lot of contention in the Victorian era where they were seancing all over the shop.
Yep.
And then we see a bright light, and Father Reynolds is like, "Is that an angel?" And Sam is like, "No, it's just Father Gregory."
The light gets turned down and Gregory comes forth.
And they're talking to Father Gregory, and he's like, "I was a man, but I'm now an angel."
Yeah,
and
they've chosen me.
And I heard you praying, and I decided to come and help. We sort of get this sense that, like, yes, he has been orchestrated. He doesn't know that he isn't an angel.
No, he's like, he's just like, when I do my bidding, I should get my little halo and wings, essentially.
Yeah, and he's sort of like, "Well, of course, like, I heard God, and he told me that I should be seeking vengeance on these wicked people, basically." And, he didn't understand he became a vengeful spirit.
Yeah.
He thought he was becoming an angel and coming back to smite
Yep.
smite the unworthy and offer redemption
To those who deserve it.
And sort of at the end, Father Gregory is like, "You can't be an angel because men cannot become angels."
Nope. Yeah, so he's like, what you're doing is wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't want to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really beautiful scene, because obviously Father Reynolds is seeing this and he's like, this is something I would have never seen before. And he is communicating with the spirit, but it's closure for him as well. It's I love it. I actually like the scene, because it's like, while it's contradicting to his faith, he is setting Gregory, like, he's putting him at rest in a way that he couldn't do by giving final rites. It's kind of like, I like the little symbolism of it all.
Yeah, and I like that he puts him to peace by giving him the last rites.
Yeah.
And so he tells him, it's time to go, it's time to leave, and Father Gregory is like, "Fine, okay," and he kneels and he gives him the last rites.
And then we assume he goes to heaven.
Or we assume that he to rest.
Yeah.
We don't know where he's going. In the meantime, we've got this
Oh,
whole thing happening
we
with
got
Dean,
some drama happened over with Dean.
which is that this young man that Sam believes is his mission or his calling,
Yep.
pulls over with this young girl in the car.
Yep.
And he attempts to assault her. And it's not super clear if that was his intention or if it's accidental, because he's crossing a boundary and,
you assume he hasn't done this before.
Yes. Meaning maybe he's not very good at dating and he doesn't understand how to not rape people.
Yep. Yep.
Of course, that's so easy to not know how to do.
Yeah.
If you haven't been on many dates, as you just assume you're just going to rape someone.
It's apparently it's the logical step. Oh, they rejected me, I just rape. No, it's not, sir.
Yeah, I've pushed a boundary by pulling over before our date and trying to make out with you, and you've been like, "Hey, no, we haven't gotten to know each other yet," and you've said,
we've got our dinner reservation.
Yeah. But Dean pulls him out of the car. He gets the girl. He checks the girl. He's like, "Are you okay? Do you have a phone?
You have a cell phone, call cops."
Yeah, call the cops. Like, he doesn't just leave this girl, which I appreciated. This feels like a Sera Gamble touch of being like...
It's a 2-second line.
But
it wrapped that line up, because
it's not him just being like, Anyway, bye now. Like,
Yeah.
sorry you've been traumatized.
Yeah, and it's very much us. Like, for me, I was watching him like, oh no, he's going to leave her on the side of the fucking road in a alley.
Yeah.
And he does do that very rushed, please call the cops. Make sure yes, you have a cell phone. Yes, good, call the cops.
Yeah.
And obviously she would have called and gone, hey, this guy rescued me. Oh my God.
Yeah. I was nearly assaulted. This is the person. And so Dean's chasing this guy. He's following him because he's now like, whoa, something bad did almost happen. And I stopped it. Like, I need to stop this guy.
Yeah.
And then there's a
horrific
car accident.
Some fucking Final
Destination nightmare shit.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime I'm behind a truck that has like
that was me
kind
last night.
Still, really?
Yeah, it was driving behind a guy who didn't have his tools like in the back of his like dual cab ute, like, and it was like a shovel and I assume like an axe or something. Well, not an axe, like a pickaxe, and like it was just the handle. And I'm like, I'm gonna do 20 behind this guy until he turns off.
Yeah.
So I was like, he's not going very fast. I'm like, I don't fucking care.
Nope.
Nope. And
this is not how I die.
Nope.
I'm not getting Final Destination.
Nope. I'm not going to have an axe come through my goddamn windscreen.
Yeah. But he gets like a steel pipe through his chest in this sort of happenstantial accident.
Yeah, because there's obviously a high-speed chase.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of screechy, tirey, turnies, flippity-woppities going around. And then there is I assume, plumber, handyman with stuff in his utility van or truck, whatever you want to call it. We say ute. And he's stopped suddenly because he can see this bad guy and Dean coming. So he stops. But as he sort of stops, he kind of swerves a bit. So he misses an accident. And it just all happens haphazardly, but almost coincidental.
Yeah.
Like, it all seems like, and it's very shocking. And Dean checks the guy and he's like shaken up and he goes back to the hotel room. And I love this part where he's in shock, but he's like, if I had not seen it with my own eyes.
This whole scene, I was like, I need to just lie down because we've got so much going on. We have this conversation with Sam where Sam is saying like, I'm meant to be evil. They have this conversation earlier where he's like, Dean's like, well, aren't you meant to be evil? Maybe I should just kill you now. Like, that's not our job to decide. And Sam's like, well, I want to believe that I can be saved, which just like, oof,
yeah,
Jesus, hell, like, oh my God.
Yeah, heavy hitting.
And then we've got Dean being like, if I hadn't seen this with my own two eyes, he's like, I don't know what to say. Like, it was an accident. After I know for a fact he tried to assault someone, like, I think it was the hand of God.
Like a divine intervention kind of scenario.
Like, there's just, like, I don't know what else it could be. And then behind all of this scene, Knocking on Heaven's Door by Bob Dylan is playing. And it is the perfect song and it is a perfect scene. And they're both acting their pants off. Like, Jared's performance is so good of him being like, just wanted to believe that I could be saved. And you're just like, oof.
And then Dean coming in just like, like he's traumatized by what happened, but mainly because he's like, if I hadn't seen it and heard it, I wouldn't believe you.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Ay.
And it's just this like flip of like Sam's belief. Sam from the start being like, well, maybe it is an angel, and then him finding out it wasn't an angel, it was just a vengeful spirit with a interesting take on what he should be vengeful about and for who.
And then Dean also, it's interesting they've gone 180 on their own respective like journeys.
Yeah,
regarding religion.
Yeah. Yes. Sera Gamble, god damn it, damn it, woman.
And this episode was like 42 minutes long, guys. Like, this episode is very short.
Our episode or the episode of the television show?
Television show. Oh, no, not our recap. Oh, God, no. Oh, honey.
Because I'm like, no, we're sitting at almost an hour at this point.
No. But like the episode is a short episode. And the fact that we've got so much.
Yeah.
And they both have grown as individuals regarding their thoughts about religion.
Yeah.
And about what that may look like.
I wouldn't say thoughts about religion. I would say thoughts about faith.
About faith. You're very right. Sorry, not about religion. Faith and potential divine intervention.
Yeah,
and
like
how that looks like and why it looks like it does.
Yeah, and Sam
and if it does.
Being kind of like, I wanted to have this so that I could be saved, that I could believe that I be saved from this fate that I have ahead of me. And Dean being like, I couldn't have believed this. I couldn't have thought it was possible. But I think I saw God's will in the death of this person who tried to assault someone. That's the end of the episode. And it's just that final scene is for me the scene.
Resonates.
But it's one of those scenes where you're like, this show it's a CW show.
Mm-hmm.
No offense, some offense to the CW. The bar's pretty low. Like, I don't come to the CW for Orphan Black or for
or Sandman.
Or for Sandman. I don't come to I come to the CW to have a fun time.
Yeah,
and Supernatural is Little Liars is a great example of some real nonsense.
So, guys, I said it.
But sometimes, and I think it's Kripke because he had visions beyond what the CW was at that time.
And wanted.
And what they wanted. And he brought in people that allowed him to kind of...
He pushed the envelope.
Send.
Yeah, for him to transcend, but he also has people that have pushed that envelope
Mm-hmm.
to the point where CW is like, that's the edge and that's where you stay. And like, okay, we know they found their boundaries and where they can push it to.
Yeah.
And it's good because we get to see something not like Pretty Little Liars.
No. A show that I've never seen, but I have watched a 4-hour recap of.
Yeah, it's it's that. I got no words. But yeah, that's the episode.
That is the episode.
Good episode.
Definitely one of my favorites. And an episode where I've had to cut multiple times where Kat and I have screamed because we can't talk about spoilers.
Can I say I did really well?
You did amazingly well. Mostly I had to keep you on track for which bits happened where, which is what I normally have to do anyway.
Which is fine, which is standard. That you can't it wasn't spoilery.
No. We didn't spoiler it. I desperately wanted to. I wanted to talk about so many goddamn things.
Especially off cuff comments. God damn it.
We'll get there. We will get. So, as always, subscribe, share,
Ho!
Tell a friend, tell a co-worker. We're back again. I'm literally editing episodes at the moment that are from Christmas last year when I was pregnant, and I'm now I'll be editing this episode soon, and we're up to Christmas again. Yeah. So if you're traveling, if you are seeing family for Christmas, traveling for the New Year, traveling for the holidays, tell someone to listen to this.
Yeah, tell someone that. Just tell anyone, just have a good old time. And also, if you are listening, feel free to go back and start from the beginning and listen to us ramble.
Yeah, that's
from 2020 or April 2021.
Yes,
and see where we are now. Look how the world has changed.
Yeah, we've also got our mini episodes coming out every Friday, which are Winchester mini episodes, where we just kind of talk about how we feel about the Winchesters, how that's going.
Yeah.
You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on Twitter for now. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We're on Tumblr now, but I haven't really posted anything yet, so sorry about that. Show notes, as always, can be found at wewilltalkaboutit.com. And if you want to send us a ooky spooky story, your own supernatural tale, please do so at our email, which is wewilltalkaboutitpod@gmail.com. And if we get enough of them, we'll do a mini episode. Yeah. We'll do a listener episode and read out some of your spooky stories.
Yes, we will.
But in the meantime, stay safe and watch out for weeping angels.
Oh, yeah. Good one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.